Hey there, bookkeeping side hustle community. It's Kate. It's been a while since I've been here. Glad to be back with y'all. And we have an awesome demo today. We will be demoing the software called Pixie. And the guest is Celso Pinto. He's going to introduce himself in a second, but I would love to have those of you who are watching chime in, tell us where you're from, and another thing I want to mention is that stay tuned because we're going to be announcing a discount at the end, and I'm excited to share Pixie with y'all. So let me ask Celso to introduce himself and give us the high level overview of Pixie, and then we're going to get into this demo.
Hi, Kate. Yeah, thanks for inviting us. Definitely excited to share a bit more about what we're building here at Pixie. As everyone might have picked up from my name and funny accent, although I'm kind of like in the UK, I'm not from here. I'm originally from Lisbon, and the reason why I started Pixie is because I did realize how challenging it is for a small and thriving CPA and bookkeeping firm to kind of like get a hold of and balancing the client relationships with the work that needs to be done, really. And from that, we kind of like derived three insights that we built Pixie around. So the first thing is really just about standardizing workflows. So just making sure that there's consistent service delivery. The second thing is based on that consistency, how do we automate as much of the admin as possible so that you can just focus on the things that you enjoy doing and not the admin part of it. And lastly, the third bit that's super important is like don't underprice yourself. So it's really important to show proactive service to clients and making sure that they feel appreciated because that will help you command higher fees, which will then be the foundation on which you can build your business.
And so Pixie helps bookkeepers do that service providing. That's pretty good. I struggle with that sometimes of um, in my head knowing what I'm doing, but maybe not having that being so having the client be aware of that. So even if because I'm probably not doing it the same way every time, which I definitely could work on standardizing. Um, so that's a great intro to Pixie. I think so. Yeah, I wanted to make sure we highlighted the sort of the top aspects of Pixie. So also, would is Pixie?
Mhm.
Would you call it a practice management software? Is that the best word to describe it?
Yeah, well, that's definitely the category that you fit in.
Okay.
I'll tell you that. But ultimately, the thing that matters is that we really come in and help small firms stay organized and run their operation at the end of the day. So the running of operation means making sure you don't miss any deadlines, mostly by starting them ahead of time, which kind of ties back to the previous point of just providing consistent services and proactive services to clients. Also, the fact that you have everything in one place with regards to clients. So, as you can imagine, yeah, we talk with lots of folks coming in from apps like Asana and things like that, and they have their files in Asana, and then they have they have the tasks in Asana, and then they have the emails in Gmail, and then they have the files in Dropbox. And it's a bit all over the place, so it makes them feel like super overwhelmed and growing a client base because of all that confusion. And Pixie really helps streamline those workflows. And ultimately, one of the things that I'm the most passionate about is that I also realize that the bookkeeping community is really a community. So everyone kind of like ends up working together. And Pixie also helps you with that because ultimately there's no barrier to bringing in someone in to help out with a few workflows or with a few extra clients. And you still get to retain those clients, right? You just get to outsource the work, and Pixie doesn't introduce a penalty on that because there's no additional cost per user. But these are just some of the things to keep in mind when looking at a solution like ours. The main thing really is running your operation in one app as opposed to being in multiple apps.
All right. I liked the no additional cost per user. That's interesting. We'll get into the pricing later at the
Yeah,
end.
for sure.
Let's demo. Shall we demo?
Oh yeah, let's do this.
All
I'll go
right.
ahead and try to share my screen.
I have it shared here below, so I'm going to add it to the stream, and
All
I
right, amazing.
will remove my cool little graphic here and take it away. I mean, I know you do these demos a lot, so our
Mm,
audience here is definitely probably firms on the smaller side, and I know that that's one of y'all's targets. So that's one of the reasons I was excited to be able to show y'all off. And maybe newer folks, or even people who aren't quite doing it part time, and so they're because
Hmm.
and it's because so who are doing it part time because they have so much else going on in their life. That's how I would describe myself. I have a business, but then I also have like 90 other things, and so the minimizing the stress part is very appealing. So I think a lot of people are similar to me, and so let's demo.
Let's do this. So I'd probably start with the first bit that I mentioned earlier, which is around just standardizing workflows. Don't get me wrong, I completely appreciate that every client is different, especially when it comes to bookkeeping. Everyone has their own processes, different accounts, different software, and that's all normal. So where we come in really is just making sure that every client just receives the same consistent type of service. And you can tweak all of these things and make it and customize them per client. But the moneymaker around Pixie really is around just automating the workflows. So, for example, like this, where we reach out to the client automatically on your behalf whenever a task gets started, and ask for any statements or anything of the sort. So this by itself just allows you to get rid of a lot of the admin and chasing clients for documents. And then also the automation. So this is one example of an automation. For example, we have others. So if I go into a client records real quick, and I realize that I'm just blasting through a number of things, but I want to give you just a bit of an idea of an overview of what's possible, and then I
Yeah.
can drill down into more specific things. Um,
Yeah, folks, if y'all
and
have questions, just type them in, and I
oh,
will
by all
ask.
means,
I will
yes.
ask if I'll ask in time if it's appropriate, or I'll save them to the end. But
Yeah.
please filter. I'm monitoring the chat.
Hmm. In fact, I would again just encourage everyone to ask questions because I don't really have a script. I usually
Well, let me
just
ask
show
then. Let
people
me
the
ask
things that they want to see.
the slide you were, or the part that you were on before, when they're notifying of certain tasks, like whenever I'm
Hmm.
on. Is that via? Are they getting notified via email?
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
exactly.
All right. Gotcha. Okay. You
So
can.
this email just goes out automatically to the client, just to let them know that we started the bookkeeping. So please just upload the bank statements using this link. Um, and this task here got started because on the client, we have the recurring tasks, right? And we're saying that every Friday, we want to send them an email with regards to the bookkeeping and just get that task going, which is a very important element. So I've seen all sorts of things here from smaller firms by using kind of like Outlook reminders and things like that. You can absolutely do that, but you will absolutely also hit the limit in terms of how many of those alerts aren't just going to be muted, and then you end up missing all important task deadlines as well. So we have a question about
Text.
text notifications instead of email. At the moment, Pixie only really supports email. We found that to be a really effective channel. We're looking at other things. Text message is one, WhatsApp is another, and hopefully down the line in the year, we'll be able to show you a few other features in terms of sending these notifications. Now
Great.
that said, if the client is kind of like paying attention to the email, then they will be able to just hit the link on the mobile and takes them directly to your portal here on Pixie. They don't have to authenticate, so that's something that hopefully will reduce or remove the friction from having them upload the documents into the portal, and from there they can upload the documents, and it goes straight into Pixie, specifically to the task. So if I go here into my files, I have my documents right there that the client uploaded straight into the task in itself. Um, so this is again just one of those things where as you grow your business, you'll be able to leverage more and more of these automations just to streamline the collaboration with the clients as well. Um, yeah, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say, so that reminder email that we're using as the example of upload bank statements, is that something that I can almost have like a library of stuff? So whenever I add a new client and I give them I identify that this is a task I need to work on, that it's already kind of populated. I'm not, or am I
Hmm.
having to kind of set every time I guess, is there a streamline of onboarding of new clients with Pixie?
Yeah, yeah, that's amazing. That's a really good question. And in fact, I think it's so streamlined that I think I can like squeeze it in just now. So I'll go into the clients here, another new client, and I'll call it bookkeeping side hustle.
Okay.
And from there, I can also capture a number of other details about the clients, a number of fields. I'll just leave all of these, but I will add you as a recipient of the email. Don't worry though, I'm not going to actually send you the emails.
That's
I'll
okay.
just add it like this so that you don't start receiving all these notifications halfway through the month.
You can start doing my bookkeeping. You can be my bookkeeper.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'll just start sending you
Yes, please.
the notifications for uploading the statement. So now I have my client records here on Pixie, and you'll see that this is a bit different from what you're accustomed. For example, if you're looking at apps like ClickUp, as those tend to be more organized around project management. They're configurable, but everything is kind of like a project. Whereas in Pixie, this isn't a project. This is your client workspace. So this is where you find everything related to a client. And in this case here, we want to go into the recurring tasks, and I'll go ahead and just pick the bookkeeping task right now. So by putting that task in there, I automatically set it to recur. And I want to change this right now to make it work, let's say, on a weekday, let's say every Friday, for example. And I want to assign it to someone else in my team, so I could do that as well if I wanted to. So I'll go ahead and click the change schedule. So now it runs every Friday. And every Friday, what's going to happen is that Pixie is going to, let me just view the template and just make sure I don't forget about anything. Send an email out to the client and then help you with a checklist to process the bookkeeping. And then here's another template to send the management accounts to clients. This one here, again, always drives the consistency in terms of service delivery. So regardless of who's doing this, they'll always have that template already pre-written for them. All they need to do really is attach the management accounts and send those over to the clients, send that report in. Um, so I'll go and simulate this real quick here by going back into my client, BSCH, going to the recurring tasks, and I'll create the task myself as if Pixie is just creating this automatically. So I'll just put that, tasks any private client, save the task create. So what's going to happen again is that Pixie is going to send all of these emails automatically. So hypothetically, Kate would have been receiving this email right now.
Okay.
And then from here, you would click on that link there to take you to the portal. So I noticed there is a document here. So what happens after the clients upload documents? Do we get notified? So let me just show you exactly that by clicking on the link there. Takes me to the portal again. I'll just pick Bank X statement, do that, and this is the client experience. So this is all they need to do. They don't need to log into anything to upload the documents there. If I go into my notifications, I can see the document right there, the notification right there. Same thing if I go into my email, then let me just go grab that. If I go into my email, I will see that the document has been uploaded. So it should be around here somewhere. I just can't get hold of Outlook anymore.
But we were
And
notified in Pixie that the
on email as
client
well.
uploaded, and on email as well.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. And then once you hit the link to take you into Pixie, that will bring you to this tab here, and you'll see the documents that the client uploaded right there.
And so now if you go to that client's
Yeah.
workflow, Emmanuel is asking, does that mean another task has been assigned because Pixie knows that they have complied with the request?
Yeah, exactly. So I'll just go ahead and mark this as done because I don't need to chase it anymore. From there, I can just process my bookkeeping, just double checking what needs to be done here. And lastly, send the monthly reports to the client. So here's the email template, as I mentioned earlier as well. That's ready to go. So all I need to do is pick Kate and then attach the document and send it over to them. Mhm.
Okay, hold on.
Yes.
When I think about the tasks that I need to do, though, like I know that this is a simplified example, but for me, bookkeeping has like 10 steps, and uploading bank statements is just like one. So we would be able to have a much more detailed like sub checks underneath the task of bookkeeping, which is,
Hmm.
uncategorized transactions or pay sales tax
Yeah,
or
yeah,
all those things. So we
yeah.
can add as many as we want.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So let me just bring up the template again, and you can change this to anything you like, really. And we can say um, reconcile manual transactions, as you mentioned, some other step, so on and so forth. You can also embed videos. This is probably more interesting if you outsource work and you just want to kind of like create the operations manual
Yeah.
right here on Pixie, and this will allow you to embed those videos right into the workflows as well. And then we also have the bookkeeping notes, which I didn't even touch on. But the bookkeeping notes, again, it just looks at the client record and then just embeds things into that into that particular step. So I'll save the template here, and now the next time that the task starts, Pixie will just pick it up with all those subtasks as well. There's additional checklist. So this is to say what you can make it as simple or as complex as you like for each client or for all clients. It's all the same. But the important thing really is to make sure that you have everything standardized so that nothing really falls through the cracks in terms of next steps for each of these services being delivered to the clients.
All right, y'all, if y'all have questions, keep chiming them in. Can you talk a little bit more about one of the things that I recall made Pixie unique, I think, was the email integration
Mm.
component, and that was very close and tight and something that y'all were building in a special way. Am I right about that?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. And one of the things you already noticed is that Pixie is able to send emails out on your behalf. And the reason why Pixie does this is because we have an integration with Outlook 365 and Gmail as well. And that allows us to connect Pixie to your email account. And by connecting Pixie to your email account, one of the good things is that we can automate the email sending. But another thing also is that we can automate the email logging. So what do I mean by that?
Oh.
Any emails coming in from the client get logged into the client record automatically and create a timeline. So if I go again into my Accountancy Cloud client here, I hit that emails timeline right there, and I can see all the communications related to this client. And Pixie also gives you the ability to create a task from an email. And folks just usually love this feature because it's super easy to convert an email into an action item and put that on the to-do list. So in this case here, again, here's an email, create a task. And if I now go into my to-do list, this email will be there, the task will be there, ready to go. And also, I can set a deadline for it. So let's say that I want to do this on the 30th. And once you have more team members, you can also start assigning things to them so that they themselves can like manage all this work and not you. You're more like an interface with the clients, and you can just focus on that client relationship and just leave the actual work to the team members because they'll now know what's expected to them and their deadlines as well.
Is it a best practice to have like a different work email that's connected to Pixie? Because I'm thinking about all the personal emails I get. I have a business email, like a domain and an
Hmm.
email, but I'm trying to think of. I get a lot so
Yeah.
of emails. How does that work? Where so that way your Pixie doesn't become overwhelmed.
Yeah, yeah. For all intents and purposes, yes. Please do create a separate email for work. Um, First, it looks more professional. For starters, I don't know about you, but my email is like Cpinto, Cpinto
Yeah.
77 or something like that, because that was the thing that was
Oh,
available on Gmail.
it was crazier than that. It was like Portugal or
Yeah,
whatever. Never mind.
it could be.
Yeah.
It could have been. But yeah, and as you can imagine, that's not my most professional email address. But ultimately, if you create something that's different, you get that opportunity, almost like to rebrand. if possible, I would definitely recommend going the same direction you did, which is just having your own kind of like domain, because that will help you build the brand as well. And even if you're not thinking about doing anything like or accelerating the business in the short term, in the long term, you got to keep your options open. So just starting building the brand as early as possible is a really good thing. Registering the domain costs like $5 or something like that, and you get to keep your own domain going forward.
Okay.
Um, mhm.
All right, we got another question here from Emmanuel. He
Yep.
asking, if my task is to do the data entry bookkeeping, how can I assign my partner to do the rest of the process? Is this a manual assignment or can it be auto assigned?
Yeah, it's a manual assignment. So going back into my to-do list here, and to this bookkeeping, let's say that I did all the emails and everything, and I want someone else to do this checking. I'll just go ahead and assign this task to Matt, and then now it's on Matt's to-do list, so they'll get the notification alongside Pixie as well. And yeah, from then on they'll pick it up, and once they're done, they can reassign it back to me.
All right, hopefully that answers your question, Emmanuel.
Um,
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Kate. I was just going to add that because quality control is so important, you can also keep an eye out on the things that have been reassigned to someone else by going into your reassign task tab and see all the tasks that you have assigned to someone else on the team, who's assigned to those, what are the deadlines, etc.
And so I'm thinking about how the team situation works, and that's why it's also really important to have that domain, because to make this work well, you need to have your contractors have, or
Mm,
employees have, their own their work email. So when they're doing work for you, they're not intermingled with anyone else they're working with. They're not, and they don't have their personal stuff in there. It's going to be a super dedicated. Um, I mean, you could almost even use like bookkeeper one, bookkeeper two type of an email address if you think that that role might change. I
mhm.
could see something like that being valuable. Do firms do it that way? Like,
Yeah, all the time, all the
okay,
time, and so much so that confidentially between you and I and the group, we are going to launch a feature this week, which is the shared inbox, which is exactly that. So you'd have kind of like financials at domain.com,
yeah.
and that would be kind of like for whomever it is on that group, and they will be they will have access to the shared inbox, so they don't have their own personal emails, but they'll still be able to access that shared inbox, if that makes sense, and take care of any correspondence with the clients on your behalf.
All right, we heard it here first.
Mhm.
You,
I'll,
me, and our viewers and all of YouTube. Okay, fantastic. I had another question. So I just took my QuickBooks Pro Advisor recertification yesterday. And so I'm interested in you just sort of honestly talking about how an app like yours integrates with some of these things that I'm learning. Like, so in my training yesterday, QuickBooks is trying to get me client communication, and they're trying to get me, you know, a work place where I can put my tasks and organize them. And it looked very similar to like the boxes, like the that you showed on one of your screens. And so I know that you work with a lot of firms that are way better executed than mine. So what are the best practices for people who want to use tools that our software is building versus an external app like yours? And I'm sure y'all have to be watching what companies like Intuit and Zero are building. That so, can you just what's your honest opinion about that?
yeah.
How do you stand
Um,
out from what they're building, and
mhm.
how are firms using maybe the best of both?
Yeah.
Talk about that if you don't mind.
Yeah, no, no, not at all. And I will give you my most candid opinion on that regard. In that regard, so the first thing is that realistically, the only thing that matters to me is you. So what do I mean by that? You use whatever you feel comfortable with, regardless of whether that's Pixie or not. So that would be almost like the starting point. And I would say that if you are considering something that's not built for accountants or bookkeepers, and something that is built for accountants and bookkeepers, please do prioritize the things that are built for accountants and bookkeepers, because those will have workflows that are specific to your profession, whereas something more generic like Asana is not. And you'll spend a lot of time and effort and headache just configuring those apps to make them work with our with our workflows. So that would be my first kind of like point with regards to that. Now, how does Pixie differentiate versus what's already out there? I can't really talk a lot in terms of roadmap of what you're building, but one of the things that one of the upsides of being an independent app is that we can talk to multiple systems that the vendors themselves will never do. So, for example, you'll never have QBO talking to Zero, and vice versa. So those two will never happen. As an independent party, again, our focus is what's best for you. So we're more than happy to integrate with QBO. We're more than happy to integrate with Zero. And I think that you'll absolutely love what we're building right now in terms of integrations that we're going to announce later in the year as well. Those things are like massive time savers. Again, full focus on quality of service, automation. So those are the things that are really, really important for us. And the more we can do for you on your behalf, I think that the happier we'll be, and the more bandwidth you'll have for dealing with the clients and focusing on them. But again, we can do it in a way that vendors probably won't do because of their own self-interest. So that's something to keep an eye out on for.
Awesome. Thanks for answering that. I always like to, I think I even thought of you
That's the
yesterday as I was
curveball.
taking the, huh? What?
That's the curveball.
Yeah. Well, I thought of you yesterday as I was taking this, the recertification, and they always, the recert is always like what's new material. And I'm like, oh, well, that's kind of nice, or oh, well, that's kind of neat. Thanks so much for answering that. So I have a couple more questions that I want to ask. If someone needs help, how is support handled?
Yeah. So before getting into that, something that I forgot in my previous point, congratulations on the recertification.
Oh, yeah.
I missed that. I don't know why. But now that
It's
you
okay.
mentioned it again, I'm like, oh, okay, cool. So congrats on going through that again. So in terms of support, there are a few things to keep in mind. So the first one is just day-to-day support, meaning, how do I find the client or something like that? And you can also reach out to us via live chat. So that's point number one. And then there's also training, so learning how to use the software, etc. That's accessible via the academy. And this is self-service, so you can just enroll at any time, and it covers every single feature of Pixie. And then the third thing that I would say is the most important one is you get a dedicated account manager, and that account
Okay.
manager will do an implementation call with you just to understand how many clients you have to import, how to bring them into Pixie, how to configure all the recurring tasks. A lot of the things that I kind of skimmed through in terms of automation, they'll go like really, really deeply and help you configure all of those, and making sure that you have you're getting as much value out of the platform in terms of automation as possible. And again, for example, one of the things that we've learned is that precisely every client, every bookkeeping client is different. Everyone has their own different needs. So how do we add those things into a standard process? Usually in these situations, you'd end up with a standard process per client, and that's not really a scalable solution. But again, with the help of all the bookkeepers that we have on board already, we kind of worked out a few really good solutions that the account manager will be more than happy to share with you. And this doesn't have an additional price, right? So this is again just baked into the Pixie subscription, so you get access to that dedicated account manager as well.
So the thing that I think that's most valuable about that, like it's coming to my mind, is I am never going to have exposure to tons and tons of clients as a
Yes.
small operator, but your staff does. I mean, they're seeing the good, bad, and the ugly. They're seeing good practices and bad practices, and then they're seeing
Yeah.
good bookkeeping clients and bad bookkeeping clients. So
Yeah.
they're seeing the actual bookkeepers, and then they're seeing the businesses and what's unique about, oh,
Yeah.
this person's got eBay. Well, how
Yeah.
do you handle that? Oh, I've seen
Yeah.
some eBay people, so I know I can walk you through that.
Spot
So
on.
that would be just invaluable to me, because I I don't know how I don't know how, I'm doing my best to work with my clients, but there's probably a better way. um,
Yeah. Yeah.
so
There's always ways to improve, and
yeah.
again, I don't think you're. Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're doing awesome, but yeah.
Well, I mean, I just there's value in having a lot
Mhm.
of reps,
Yes. Yeah. Definitely.
and you are almost like a cheat code of getting reps that
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm never gonna get, and I don't want.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, totally. And this is a great example of exactly that. Like, um, some of the workflows that we have here, they come from peers. They don't come from vendors. So, for example, if I go on there, you can see a few of Amy's templates. You can see a few of Veronica's templates. Obviously, James Ashford, the king of sales. So, all of these things you can
oh,
tap
sales
into.
templates.
Yeah,
Interesting. So
exactly.
not
So you can
that's not like workflow bookkeeping work. That's like business workflows
Yeah,
too. Wow.
yeah, exactly. Like I said, operations, yeah, you can tap into this wisdom from peers, from industry peers, because they had to go through the same challenges. It's the same for everyone. So why not just get that cheat code, as you mentioned, and just see what they did and how they kind of like organize and structure their own processes.
Awesome. So about 2 minutes ago, you mentioned that it's built into the price. So can we say what the price is as of June 2022?
Yes. So the price of as of June of 2022 depends on the number of clients that you have,
Okay.
and from 1 to 50 clients, it's £49. That translates to about $69. And then it goes from there. So definitely invite everyone to just hop into our pricing page, because mine's in sterling and yours is going to be in dollars, and I don't want to mislead anyone with the wrong numbers.
Okay.
But yeah, if you go there, pricing is super transparent, and again, unlimited users. So
That's fantastic. And y'all, there'll be a link below. It is a referral link that they have provided me. So if you want to use that, I'd appreciate that. And it gets you 1 month of free access to Pixie by coming from the Bookkeeping Side Hustle community. So that's the details about that. Now, there's one more question, and then we're going to wrap up because I want to keep these short so people watch them when they watch
hmm
the replays. But um, I had mentioned that there was going to be a prize, and the person on Salsa staff that I had worked with on that, we forgot to work out that I was US and it's too hard to send stuff. You'll end up having to pay for your prize. So we're going to ignore that, and we're just going to offer this 1 month free trial, very generous. So pick a time when you can really run hard at it, y'all. That's my recommendation of when to start that. So you carve out the time to really test it, and then lean hard on your account rep, and they'll be there to help you. Emmanuel did ask, could you have an integration with QBO, or when is it coming? And I think you do have an integration. Or
Um, Yes-ish. So right now it's still via Zapier, but the native integration is coming down either later in the year, I mean like Q4 or Q1 next year. So,
okay,
but keep an eye out, because, again, I think it's going to be a first in the industry, and I think you'll love what we're going to build.
fantastic. Um, all right, Michelle says, sweet, thanks, I will try it. So I think we've touched on everything that we need to touch on. I just want to give people the taste of what it is, and if they sign up for the free trial, you'll be connected with a rep. You'll be able to get the training that you need, and also y'all can tag me, and I can connect you if there's any bumps in the road. We want y'all to experience this product as best as possible, and get them to answer your specific questions. Right now we kept this kind of general, y'all. So if you need it more for the sales workflow, that's great. If you need it more for the tasks, or if you need it more for team, there's all different flavors of us. So they'll be able to help you. But hopefully this general overview is good enough to pique your interest. And I think we're done. Hope, is that all right, Celso?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much again for the opportunity. Always excited to share what we're working on. And yeah, thank you very much also everyone for the questions. Pretty awesome stuff. And yeah, keep an eye out, because down the line we're going to have some pretty awesome stuff for you as well.
Thank you so much. All right, we're signing off. Bye, everyone.
Awesome. Thank you. Bye bye.
Bye.